commercial broadcaster. Television came at you from different directions, not just down, but it also started to come from you. In programs like Fox's Cops and America's Funniest Home Videos, where for the first time the material was generated by the subjects of the camera's gaze. Let us not forget that in America's Most Wanted, the slogan was, of course, "Watch television, catch criminals." But for the generation represented by my son, the world is very different. Television, or rather the moving image with sound, has become totally personalized in all its aspects: subject, production, and distribution. The digital project means that media represents no reality, where the image multiplies indefinitely, perfectly, and represents only itself, and no real reality at all. Or rather, a reality in which the image itself is the only reality. A reality in which 98% of photographs in the average glossy magazine are digitally altered, in which 98% of the Hollywood movies, even those without special effects, are digitally altered, in which newsreaders and game show contestants routinely appear in environments which don't exist in the physical world, a separate pseudo-world. And now it is possible to define celebrity as being totally divorced from achievement at all. A celebrity today is someone who is recognized by more people than they themselves can recognize, and that's about it. This generation has a different understanding of media and technology. For a start, it has grown up with games in which the individual audience member can affect the outcome directly. It has grown up with an in-depth understanding of genre derived from television history, with an in-depth understanding of the technology that makes it, a technology which may be domestic, but which is now of broadcast quality, with domestic editing sets which rival those used in what we like to call an industry. And now, crucially, the audience has distribution. This is a world of digital television, digital networks, digital everything, digital identity. Power in this environment is certainly not a push, but it's probably not, in fact, a pull. It is distributed equally in all parts of the system, acting in all directions simultaneously. And in fact, power is a peer-to-peer distributed network. The audience, having been first the recipient of the camera's gaze and then its subject, has taken control first of the means of production and now, of course, the means of distribution. And so it is that media has become totally personalized in all its aspects. It has moved into my space. The artist formerly known as the audience has become, to use Marshall McLuhan's prediction from the early 70s, the prosumer. To quote Andy Warhol just before his death, my favorite of all the Warhol quotes, "My prediction from the 60s finally came true. In the future, everyone will be famous for 15 minutes. I'm bored with that line. I never use it anymore. My new line is, in 15 minutes, everybody will be famous." I believe that we are living through a profound moment in the evolution of technology, and therefore in the evolution of our species. We should be careful that when we mourn the so-called death of television, we are not only mourning our own loss of power as a media elite. I know that sounds rather dramatic at the end of a long day in a seminar, but I believe it nonetheless. We are not living through the death of television for the simple reason that this is not about television. Technological development is a story which runs through human history and which shapes it and is shaped by it. And part of that story is the rise and rise and rise of technology. Part of that story is the rise and rise and rise of what we call the media. This is about us in a very deep and very profound way, and it's about the way in which we as a species are driven by creativity and the desire to communicate. Obviously, I realize that I sound alternatively naive and pretentious when I say this, but these concerns of ours, is television dying? What's the next big thing? Will people want to watch television on a mobile phone? What's the business model? These are not the important questions. These are not the questions which are important culturally or historically. The important ones are,